Hi everyone, welcome back to The Mystic in the Woods. I'm Kate, and today I want to talk about building a spiritual practice that works for you and your lifestyle. Not for me or for anyone else that you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, but a practice that actually works for you. So there are all of these YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagram and just all of the social media that is consistently telling us things that we can or should be doing in our practice daily, weekly, monthly, in order to have the correct practice or the most impactful practice or the most powerful practice. That we should every single day meditate for 20 minutes, or we should every single day meditate or journal for 30 minutes, or we should fill in the blank. But I want to talk about building a practice that actually works for you, your lifestyle, your schedule, not one that works for somebody else. And this is something I've become really passionate about over the last couple of years. As I've kind of mentioned on this channel before, I stepped into motherhood. And as I adjusted to life with an infant and then a toddler and all of these things, and my energy levels and my sleep patterns and time adjustments have all changed constantly over the last 2 years. My spiritual practice has had to adjust constantly to be able to work within this new lifestyle. This is something that I feel really passionate about. So my first tip here, because they're going to kind of go in a list of tips, okay? My first tip is to get really clear on your goals. Because if you're not clear on your goals for what you want to get out of your practice, how you want to feel, the results that you want to see, it's going to be a lot more challenging to create a practice that works for you, because works for you is one that fits your lifestyle and schedule and also delivers the results that you want to see. So you need to know what those are. Now, you can absolutely experiment in order to find out what those are. And it might take time for you to find those goals, and those goals may change over time. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Allow them to change and evolve over time. My goal is to feel connected and grounded, to move through my life in alignment, fully embodied and connected. That's really the word, that connected and grounded. That's how I want to feel. That's how my spiritual path makes me feel. So my spiritual practice needs to include the things that help me to feel that way. But that's my goal. Whatever your goal is, that's what you want to work towards, right? Now, my second tip is to work your spiritual practice into your daily life, okay? So if you find that setting aside a big chunk of time throughout the day, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, in the morning or in the evening or whatever, that works for you, that's great, and you should do that. I try to do that. I do try to get up before my son and spend 30 to 60 minutes alone doing my spiritual practice, and that does not happen every day, okay? It just doesn't. So if it works for you, that's great. You should do that. But if it doesn't work for you, try attaching let me try that again. Instead of thinking about your spiritual practice as something that happens in one big chunk of time, think about it as small practices, small individual practices and rituals that you do throughout your day. I like to think about them like Legos. So I have the individual practice, and we're going to come back here and I'm going to talk more about how to do this, but I have a Lego block that includes putting a talisman on. I have a Lego block that includes filling the water and lighting the candle on one of my altars. I have another Lego block that includes a different altar with a different candle and a water offering and a coffee offering. These are separate Lego blocks. I also have one that involved pulling a tarot card and doing a little bit of journaling. Now, I can do all of these at once. I can put my talisman on, do my water offering on my altar, pull a card, and journal. I can do them all at once and sort of create this big structure out of these Lego blocks. Or I can use them individually, just one Lego block at a time, or maybe just two at a time. And so by having these separate Lego blocks, I can put them together in various patterns depending on the day, the time and the energy that I have in one specific day. Now, the way that this works best for me, and what I've seen work best for other people, is to attach these Lego blocks to habits that you already have. So if you make coffee every morning, I don't make coffee every morning, I drink coffee maybe 3 days a week. So my coffee offering is attached to when I make coffee. If I make coffee that day, I put a coffee offering on that altar. It doesn't happen every day because I don't make coffee every day, but it is attached to that habit. So every time I make coffee, I also put a cup on the altar. If you make coffee every single day, you could potentially attach a coffee altar or a coffee offering to that habit. Or you could attach some completely other habit to it. Okay, maybe that's when you light a candle and say a specific prayer or do a specific mantra set. Maybe that's when you spend 3 minutes meditating while your coffee is being made. But if you already have a habit of making coffee every day, attach a small spiritual practice or ritual to that habit. Maybe when you brush your teeth every morning, you put a talisman on and say a specific affirmation or specific mantra. I do that every morning when I get out of bed. One of the first things I do is put my wedding ring on. I also have a talisman that I wear, and I have a very specific mantra that I say when I put that on. And it takes me 5 seconds to put that on, say the mantra, and connect in to my spiritual path for just a moment, and then move on throughout my day. So if you brush your teeth every morning, when you put clothes on, when you make your coffee, maybe you make breakfast, maybe as you walk out your door to go to work, there's a prayer or a mantra you can say. Again, you're looking for these small habits that you already do every single day and see where you can attach a small spiritual practice or ritual to. And the key to this, one of the keys to this, in my opinion, is intention. Like during those moments, you want to be very intentional, where you're bringing your awareness to it. You are bringing your awareness. That's the word I'm looking for, right? So when I put my talisman, I bring all of my awareness to that moment. And this can help you build a very powerful spiritual practice that just happens very naturally and very organically throughout your day, without you needing to set aside a large chunk of time to do your spiritual practice. One of the things that I like about this is that it allows me to both be flexible and have routines. So one day, maybe I put on my talisman and I make coffee and I do an offering, and then I have a few moments, so I do decide to pull a tarot card and do some journaling, and all of a sudden I have spent 30 minutes on my spiritual practice because I put all these Lego blocks together. Or maybe it's a day that I don't have that, and so instead they happen throughout the day. So it allows me to both be flexible and to have routine, and I really like that. So this can work really well, I think. Now, my second tip goes along with working it into your day. One way to make that happen is to set your physical environment up for success. So I am a huge proponent of this. For those of you who don't know, like my day job is as a dog trainer, and so I have a lot of experience with setting environments up for success for the dog and the handler so that everybody can be successful. And setting up your environment so that it helps you to be successful is a huge piece of this, okay? If you are trying to work your spiritual practice into your just daily life flow, as opposed to setting aside a big chunk of time, which again, if that works for you, beautiful, do that. However, here's what I mean by setting up your environment for success. So first of all, I think it's really impactful to have sacred spaces set up in areas of your home that you can easily connect with them, so that you don't have to go way out of your way to connect in with that altar or whatever it is. So for example, I have a main altar in our living room, and this is where I make that coffee altering. Our living space is very open concept, so it's very easy for me to make coffee and then set it on the altar. Maybe instead you have a small altar right next to your coffee pot. And so it's very easy for you to connect making your coffee to lighting a candle and placing an offering and spending just a few moments connecting in with that altar space. Maybe that's what's going to work for you. So I think that it's really great to have sacred spaces set up in areas of your home that are easy for you to connect with. Another example of this is, so for me, if I am going to have any chance of pulling tarot cards and journaling, they have to be already out and easy to get to. Like, they can't be in a drawer. I can't have to decide what tarot deck I'm working with. They have to be out and ready for me to use. So I try to keep the tarot deck I'm using the most right on my altar where I do journal. Actually, it's right there. That's where I do most of my journaling and tarot draws. everything is ready. Like, it's all just sitting there. All I have to do is take the chair I'm sitting in now and pull it up to that desk instead, and I'm ready to go. I can pull a tarot card, light a candle, do my journaling. It's all right there. The moment that there is not a tarot deck and a journal sitting on that altar, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. Okay? So setting up spaces like this can be really helpful. Another thing that's worked for me, I'm trying to think of like examples in my practice that may or may not work for you, but just give you examples of this, is I use moon water for an offering for one of my practices, and I keep the jug of it, like I have it in a nice glass jar, and I keep it on that altar. So literally all I have to do is dump the old water into the house plant that is on the altar, fill it from the jug that is already on the altar, and light the candle, and I have done my water offering and my candle offering for the day. Okay? It's all right there, and it is so easy for me. And the moment it isn't all right there, the whole thing falls apart. So how can you set up your physical environment? One of the things that I'm going to be doing next, I'm about to start, is I'm going to move my phone. Usually sits right next to me, like right on my nightstand, right when I go to bed. I'm going to move my phone to the other side of my nightstand, so it's a little bit further away, and I'm going to set my prayer beads right next to me on my nightstand. Because the next habit I'm hoping to install for me is to do a specific practice every morning before I get out of bed. And if my beads are right there, so all I have to do is grab them, it's going to help me to turn that into a habit that I do every single day. So set up your environment to help you be successful. And that's going to look different on everyone, but this is a huge help if you are somebody who kind of struggles to get started with your practice because either you're tired or overwhelmed or fill in the blank, okay? But setting up your environment can really help. Sometimes this means maybe the night before, as you're getting ready for bed, there's something that you do. I'm telling you to look for places in your current routines and habits that you can very naturally slide something into. So for me, again, another example is every night as I'm getting ready for bed, I hang up my workout clothes in the bathroom so that when I go into the bathroom in the morning, I can put my workout clothes on and I'm already wearing them, which means I'm far more likely to do my workout that morning, which is actually for me both a physical practice and a spiritual practice for myself. But that's a part of my evening routine, setting up myself for success for the morning. So set your physical environment up for success. Okay, so this video is getting a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but I still got a few more tips for you. So the next one is to use associations to your advantage. So this goes kind of along with this kind of goes along with everything else we've talked about, but your brain will create associations that are very strong with specific stimuli in your environment. So smells, for example. There are going to be smells in your life that you have very strongly associated with specific people, feelings, memories, behaviors, all of these types of things. Where you sit. So when I sit at this desk, I go into work mode because my body and mind are so used to working at this desk. Okay? When I put my blue light, I have blue light blocker glasses that I wear when I work. I go straight into work mode because I have purposefully created that association for myself. I always snack in the car. The moment I sit down in the driver's seat, I get hungry and I want a snack. Okay? This is an association. That one doesn't necessarily work for me, but like, it is what it is. So if you've ever studied psychology or learning theory, like think about Pavlov's dogs, right? This is classical conditioning. So what Pavlov did was he noticed that he was ringing a bell before he fed the dogs. And basically what happened was the dogs would drool upon presentation of the food because their body is ready for the food. And he noticed that if he rang a bell before he fed the dogs every single time, the dogs began to behave for the bell the exact same way that they behaved for the food itself. So if every time you sit down to meditate or journal or pull tarot cards or whatever, you have a specific thing you do, like you light a specific candle, you sit in a specific position, you sit in a specific chair, you have a specific oil that maybe you anoint your hands or something with really quick so you can smell it, or you have an oil burner, or you burn a specific incense, or you're always using, like I like to burn cedar. That's where I was going with that. I like to burn cedar real quick before I do a lot of that stuff. These are all associations that help your brain get to that place far more quickly. So if you are somebody who struggles to shift gears into the next thing in your days, like I struggle with transitions, or you are somebody who is short on time, using these associations can really help you to shift your mind to where you want it to be faster. So it can help you get into that meditative state faster, for example, if you have a specific scent that you're always burning or wearing when you do that. So use those associations to your advantage. As you do all of these things and you know what your goals are and you work towards them, you're going to find your non-negotiables. You are going to find over time what your hopefully 2 or 3, I would be hesitant to add more than that to your non-negotiable list, but you're going to find a few things that are your non-negotiables, a few things that doing every single day really helps you meet your goals, helps your spiritual practice to produce the results that you want. For some people, it's journaling. 30 minutes of journaling sets their entire day up for success. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's a tarot card. For some people, it's fill in the blank, okay? You're going to find yours. For some people, it's going for a quick walk outside. But you will find yours. And when you find them, that's when it really is time to be as consistent as possible, so that you're doing them every single day. But they don't necessarily have to be long and complex. I brush my teeth every single day regardless of how I'm feeling, okay? Right? It takes me 30 seconds. So you can find short, simple practices that are very impactful that can become your non-negotiables, and you do not negotiate, you do them every day. And that consistency is really important for your body, for your nervous system, to create those pathways in your brain that help them become habits, stay habits, and produce the results that you're looking for. But above all, remember that your spiritual practice is meant to evolve and change as you evolve and change. It is meant to be a dynamic living thing, just like you are a dynamic living thing. And expect for it to change and evolve over time. My practice today looks nothing like it looked 6 months ago, which looks nothing like it looked 2 years ago, right? My practice is constantly evolving and changing. As I just did a reel on my Instagram the other day, I think that it's very normal for us to miss certain aspects of our practice as we evolve and change. I know I certainly do. But our practice is meant to be something that takes us down this spiritual path, right? We always talk about our spiritual path. If it's not changing, we're on a treadmill, not a path. And treadmills certainly have value, and there are things that they help us with, and they provide consistency and all these other things. They don't change, but they also don't take us anywhere. So expect for your practice to evolve over time. I think that that's really important. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions about any of this, anything you want me to expand upon, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. As always, all the links, all the things are at the link in the description. Instagram, book a session, website, everything like that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.